Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2018 Mercedes C43 AMG. Up front is a 3.0 liter twin-turbo V6, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this C43 AMG for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think this car is hot. Just gonna lay that out there. It's a hot car. The second reason is the fact that this is kind of an interesting AMG because a lot of original AMG fans might not consider this a full AMG. This does not have a hand-built engine like its siblings that came before it. However, we know that since afterwards, AMG has gotten a little muddy in the waters, and so today we're going to figure out what's what in the C43 AMG. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3-liter twin-turbo V6 under the hood. Well, as I mentioned, it's not hand-built, but that doesn't mean it's down on power. From the factory, it makes about 392 horsepower. However, this one does have a tune on it, as well as an aftermarket intake and some other breathability power mods that aren't anything too crazy, but definitely add a little bit of pizzazz. Woo! I love a good turbo V6, man. It is just, it wants to go. It is so good. Now, it doesn't have me gargling my lunch, but it just feels very premium. It feels like it knows what it's doing. And that is a very, very nice sensation to have in any automobile, but especially in a luxury performance vehicle. Like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic. This is the era where Mercedes started to switch over to the 9-speed. Traditionally, before this, they had used the 7-speed, and I like the transmission. It's pretty quickly shifting, and when you do put it into Sport Plus mode, it is ready to give you a ride, and it is very, very fast. Let's see here, second gear. Woo! You can't beat that for a daily driver. I mean, that will make you smile on your commute, and I love it. It's not as hardcore as the other AMGs that I've driven. It's not quite that cowboy boot to the sternum, but it's quick, it's agile, and like I said, it knows what it's doing. It feels like it has a doctorate in moving quickly, and that's what I love to see. Last but not least, this vehicle is 4MATIC, meaning all-wheel drive. However, the AMG actually gets a retuned all-wheel drive system that sends 71% of the power to the rear wheels and 29% of the power to the front wheels. So, for all intents and purposes, this is a mostly rear-wheel drive sedan. How does it feel to drive the AMG C43? Well, it is pretty nice. These cars are known to have ball joint issues, and this current vehicle does have that. So if you're looking for one, you might want to either get that replaced upon purchase or at least ask the owner what the ball joint situation is. But the ride is decent. It does have dynamic suspension as well, so putting it into comfort mode feels like you put a memory foam mattress under your tush. I like that a lot. It is a car that can kind of conquer anything you need or want it to do, and that is a very nice feeling. Visibility is okay. It's not stellar. It's also not terrible, so I can't complain too much. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a mix of physical and digital gauges. So off to the left, we have the speedometer and fuel. Off to the right is the tachometer and coolant temperature, and then in the center, we do get a nice screen that gives you some really good-looking graphics. They're easy to read, easy to see, and I love when that happens because that isn't always a guarantee. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as our voice commands, home and go back. And off to the right, we have volume, voice commands, and phone options. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, our steering pilot on and off, lane keep assist on and off, parking sensors, 360 camera, and our head-up display, as well as our headlight and fog light options. And moving out of the door, we do get a speaker, heated seats, and our power seats, along with 3 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, and power windows, along with power locks. Moving into the center, we do get our infotainment display. Nothing too crazy here. It does have wired Apple CarPlay. It does the job. I'm not going to complain. However, you can view the 360 camera through this, which is very nice to see. Then we have 3 symmetrical climate vents and the climate controls. We get dual zone climate. Absolutely love to see this, but otherwise relatively standard. We do have an analog clock, as well as some buttons for our navigation, media, CD player, and all that jazz. Then we have a 12-volt outlet, and we have cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test. However, anyone with eyes could have probably told me years ago that this fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do have a bunch of selectors and buttons here in the center. So we do have our drive mode button to the upper left. This will let us select between individual, sport plus, sport, comfort, and eco. We have our manual mode for the transmission, suspension mode, traction control off, volume, auto start stop, rear sunshade, all these selectors here in the center. Absolutely love to see all of this. Then we do get a center console and the seats. Now, these seats are the special AMG performance seats. Not every C43 AMG came with these seats. These were special and kind of a rare option. And I honestly kind of get why. They're not super comfortable, especially for a bigger guy like me. They are very rigid, very tough. However, they are rare and they do add certainly to the sportiness of the C43. I'm just not sure I would personally spec them on my own vehicle. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the C43 AMG from 2018. And a couple of things to note, really, the only major downside is the headroom. I'm 5'11", not a small guy, and my head is hitting the ceiling. Now, I can scooch down a little bit and remedy that. The seats are actually pretty thin. These are the special sports seats, and they are pretty thin. A lot of performance seats add like 18 inches behind them for some dumb reason. These actually get thinner, so they actually do offer a little bit more leg room. But like I said, that headroom, the C-Class is one of the smallest Mercedes you can get. So obviously the S-Class is going to have way more headroom. It's not going to be an issue. But for the smaller car, you do get a little bit of smaller car issues. Not the end of the world. I do get 2 climate vents down here, 12-volt outlet and ashtray, and then we do have a center console with pop-out cup holders in there, as well as you can open up the top for more storage. Very, very cool, but this is the back of the C43 AMG. All right, around the back of the beast. Little handle in here, and as you can see, plenty of trunk space around the back of the C43. Very, very nice to see all of that. We do have a trunk button here as well as lock. It is a power operated trunk. So very, very nice to see that. Still some nice luxury features on this crazy behemoth of an automobile. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the C43 AMG from 2018. I think this car looks absolutely wonderful. Big fan of it. It is lowered, so this does sit a little bit lower than the traditional C43 AMG. However, I really like the look of it. The wheels are aftermarket as well, but I think Mercedes in this era was just really on top of their game with styling. It looks proper, it looks aggressive, it looks beefy and mean without looking over styled. It doesn't look like the owner drove this through an auto zone and every Klingon stuck to it on the way through. It actually looks really well sculpted. I think it looks proportional, and that's all I can really ask for out of a vehicle like this. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the C43 AMG? Well, I really like this car. This truly is one of those vehicles that can be the best of both worlds. The only real downside you're going to run into is just German car problems. Not necessarily that these are unreliable, because they're not. The 3-liter V6 is actually pretty reliable. The 9-speeds tend to hold their own. The all-wheel drive system seems relatively unproblematic. The downside of German cars, because a lot of people are scared of owning German cars, it's not necessarily that they break more. When they do break, it's a lot more expensive. Parts are a lot more expensive. Germans are very meticulous about their engineering, and that shows through. They build amazing cars. But imagine trying to find touch-up paint for the Mona Lisa. It's gonna be tough. And that's what it's like to own this. But honestly, it looks good. It drives so phenomenally. It's comfortable when you want it to be comfortable. It's brutal and in your face when you want it to be brutal and in your face. It just is really, truly the best of all worlds. I personally wouldn't spec these seats. I might do things a little bit differently, but to each their own. And to the owner, this thing's an awesome, awesome daily driver. There's not really much else you could possibly want. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ken for letting me borrow his C43 AMG. He's been absolutely wonderful to work with. We also filmed his SRT4 Neon, which was a little bit more aggressive and in your face, so you can understand why this car is the comfy daily and that is the track ready monster. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.